This is news and analysis coming to you live on Politics and Business Television Abuja. Good afternoon and many thanks for joining us. I am Omiki Joseph Matthew. The headlines. APC NNPP rejects proposed US visa ban, asset freeze on Kwankwaso over religious freedom allegations. Troops kill 16 terrorists, rescue 11 kidnapped victims in Borno. Court jails 2 Chinese directors 92 years for cybercrime. And on the foreign scene, Starmer tells Jim Ratcliffe to apologize for saying UK colonized by immigrants. Details of these stories and more after the break. Thanks for joining us. The All Progressives Congress and the New Nigerian People's Party have rejected proposed visa bans and asset freezes recommended by United States lawmakers against former Kano State Governor Senator Kwankwaso, as well as the Meiti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria and Meiti Allah Cattle Hore over alleged violations of religious freedoms in Nigeria. The proposed actions are contained in a bill titled the Nigeria Religious Freedom and Accountability Act of 2026, introduced in the U.S. House of Representatives by Representative Chris Smith alongside Representative Riley Moore, Brian Marks, and Bill Hazinger. The bill seeks to impose visa restrictions and asset freezes under the Global Magnitsky Human Rights Accountability Act on individuals and entities accused of involvement in religious freedom abuses. Reacting to the development, the APC criticized the proposed sanctions, arguing that mere allegations should not be enough to restrict Kwankwaso's freedom of movement without due process. The party's director of publicity, Bala Ibrahim, described the U.S. states as a global symbol of democracy and urged its government not to take action based solely on unproven claims, stressing the need for fairness and adherence to democratic principles. The NNPP, however, described the proposed seizure as a Borno state. The troops engaged the insurgents at the Gidan Kaji axis along the Maiduguri-Damboa road, neutralizing 16 of them and forcing several others to flee with injuries. They also recovered more than 20 bicycles, weapons, and other supplies critical to terrorist operations. In a statement on Wednesday, the information officer at the headquarters Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hadinkai, Lieutenant Colonel Sani Uba, disclosed their troops had earlier repelled an ISWAP attack on a military base. He explained that a 9th February 2026, soldiers working in collaboration with the Civilian Joint Task Force launched a counter-offensive along the Kumala axis in Konduga local government area. The troops pursued the retreating terrorists up to the Gidan Kaji axis, where they killed 16 insurgents and forced others to flee in disarray. Lieutenant Colonel Uba further revealed that on the same day, troops arrested suspected ISWAP logistics suppliers around the Bulkalti axis while they were transporting a large quantity of drugs believed to be meant for the terrorists. The Chief of Air Staff, Sunday Aneke, on Wednesday declared that any personnel of the Armed Forces of Nigeria caught planning or attempting to displace the current democratic government in Nigeria will face the full wrath of the law. Aneke, an Air Marshal, also described the recent alleged coup plot against the President Bola Tinubu-led government by some military personnel as something shameful, shocking, and wholly reprehensible. The top military officer, who stated this at a strategic meeting with the commanders currently ongoing at the headquarters of the Nigerian Air Force Abuja, insisted that the major role of the military is to support the civil authority. P&B TV reports that the number of military officers and civilians arrested in connection with the last year's October planned coup has risen to about 40, with the family of those involved calling for leniency. Until now, the Federal High Court in Lagos on Wednesday convicted and sentenced two Chinese nationals and directors of Genting International Company Limited, Hung Hang-yu, also known as Ken, and Ang Hong-zu, to 46 years imprisonment, each for their roles in a multi-billion naira cybercrime and money laundering scheme. Justice Daniel Isiago, who delivered the judgment, gave the convicts an option of a 56 million naira fine. He also ordered them to undertake 3 days of community service and directed that they be repatriated to China after serving their sentences and completing the service. The two were among 792 suspected internet and cryptocurrency fraud suspects arrested by the operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission in Lagos in December 2024. However, a third defendant, Audu Friday, pleaded not guilty and will stand trial. At Wednesday's proceedings, Defense Counsel Bridget Omateno informed the court that Hung and N had decided to change their pleas from not guilty to guilty. You're still watching news analysis right here on Politics and Business Television, Abuja. And still to come, Muslim scholars urge self-purification ahead of Ramadan in Kwara. Details of these and more after the break. Welcome back. Welcome back to the news analysis right here on Politics and Business. News analysis right here on Politics and Business Television Abuja. Muslim scholars in Kwara State here. The call was made during the annual pre-Ramadan seminar jointly organized by 7 Islamic organizations, including the Muslim Congress, Standard Barriers Islamic Organization, and Al-Muminat Organization, among others. The seminar themed Ramadan seminar jointly organized by 7 Islamic organizations, including the Muslim Congress, Standard Barriers Islamic Organization, and Al-Muminat Organization, among others. The seminar themed Ramadan, Self-Purification and Detachment from Vices attracted participants from across the state. According to the organizers, the program was designed to prepare them to reflect on their conduct and strengthen their faith. In his keynote address, Associate Professor Hamza Abdurrahman of Al-Hikman University described Ramadan as a sacred period meant to instill discipline, patience, and devotion in believers. He noted that the month offers abundant reward for those who fast sincerely and seek spiritual growth. However, he cautioned against the misuse of social media, particularly during Ramadan, urging Muslims to remain focused on acts of worship and self-improvement. The federal government plans to provide stable electricity to federal universities and tertiary hospitals, as stalled following the non-release of funds allocated in the 2025 budget. Although over 300 billion naira was earmarked in the 2025 Appropriation Act for the special energy intervention, no disbursement has been made, resulting in zero implementation of the project announced last year. Confirming the development, the special advisor on media to the Minister of Power, Bolaji Tunji, said the initiative had been put on hold due to the absence of budgetary releases. Responding to inquiries about the status of the proposed energy project for teaching hospitals and universities, Tunji stated, zero funding has been released for the 2025 budget for the project, so there has been no progress on the project. The intervention was designed to tackle persistent power shortages in critical public institutions, many of which rely heavily on diesel generators to sustain operations. The federal government has set aside about 300 billion naira in the 2025 budget to provide stable and sustainable electricity, largely through solar, hybrid, and renewable energy solutions. According to the circular, aims to deepen market efficiency and ensure broader access to foreign exchange across the economy. And from the foreign scene, Sir Keir Starmer has described comments on immigration by billionaire Manchester United co-owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe as offensive and wrong. Sky News that the UK had been colonized by immigrants, and said Britain is a proud, tolerant, and diverse country, and called on Sir Jim to apologize for his remarks. A Downing Street spokesperson added that the comments play into the hands of those who want to divide our country. Sir Jim made the statements during an interview with Sky News economic editor Ed Conway on the sidelines of the European Industry Summit in Antwerp, Belgium. The remarks also drew criticism from various fan groups, including the Manchester United Supporters Trust, which said on X, no fan should feel excluded from following or supporting the club because of their race, religion, nationality, or background. Comments from the club's senior leadership should make inclusion easier, not harder. And for more sport news, let's now join Aroko Tom.
Good day and welcome to PRB Sports. I'm Aroko Tom. We start today with the development in Nottingham Forest as they have sacked head coach Sean Dyche after just 114 days of Good day and welcome to PRB Sports. I'm Aroko Tom. We start today with the development in Nottingham Forest as they have sacked head coach Sean Dyche after just 114 days in charge. The decision follows a frustrating 0-0 draw against bottom side Wolves on Wednesday, leaving Forest just 3 points above the relegation zone. In the Super Eagles, Osile has been in scintillating form, bagging 15 goals in just 21 appearances this season. However, it's not all good news for Nigerian football coach Eric Chell to Olympique de Marseille, despite reported interest from Tunisia and Angola following Nigeria's podium finish at AFCON 2025. Besides interest insists Chell remains fully committed to the March 2026 World Cup qualifiers. Still on international news, Victor Osimhen is making headlines in Turkey in scintillating form, bagging 15 goals in just 21 appearances this season. However, it's not all good news for Nigerian football. Former Chelsea midfielder Kani Chukwuemeka is reportedly in talks to switch his allegiance to Austria ahead of the 2026 World Cup, a significant blow to the NFF's recruitment plan. Meanwhile, former international Godwin Okpara has given his blessings to Ademola Lookman, recent move to Atletico Madrid, labeling it the perfect career decision for the AFCON star. Turning to athletics, the National Sports Commission has disbursed 200 million naira in training grants to 26 elite athletes. Sprinting Queen Toby and Musa is ready. The 2026 Access Bank Lagos City Marathon kicks off this Saturday of excellence. Finally, in cricket, the T20 World Cup is delivering drama. The West Indies have topped Group C after defeating England by 30 runs, while South Africa narrowly escaped Afghanistan in a thrilling double. City Marathon kicks off this Saturday, February 14th. Elite runners from across the globe are already touching down in the center of excellence. Finally, in cricket, the T20 World Cup is delivering drama. The West Indies have topped Group C after defeating England by 30 runs, while South Africa narrowly escaped Afghanistan in a thrilling double super finish. Well, that's your sports update for now. I'm Aroko Tom. Stay tuned to PNB TV for more news.
Thank you very much, Tom, for that sport. And want to officially welcome you onto the focus of the day. So, want to say today we turn our attention to a troubling revelation from Nigeria. Thank you very much, Tom, for that sport. And want to officially welcome you onto the focus of the day. So, want to say today we turn our attention to a troubling revelation from Nigeria's health sector. The Minister of Health and Social Welfare has disclosed that out of the 206 million naira was released. That's a staggering gap, one that raises serious questions about healthcare infrastructure, hospital facilities. Who bears responsibility for the funding bottleneck, and how can this be prevented in 2026? That's our focus this afternoon. Stay tuned. To dissect this topic, I have a guest who is joining us virtually this hour. He is, of course, Comrade Abubakar Bitako Umar, who is a public affairs analyst. Comrade Abubakar, can you hear me? So please, can you unmute yourself? Yes, please unmute yourself so that we can hear you. Yeah, you need to unmute yourself. Unmute. Okay, I think we're fine. We can't hear Comrade Abubakar. Comrade Abubakar, if you can hear me, please unmute. If you can unmute, then we can hear you from our end here. Oh, yeah, the audio, we can't hear you. You need to unmute.
Hello?
All right, yes, we can hear you now. Yes, Comrade Abubakar, good afternoon to you. Earlier, we are having issue of audio, audio problem.
Sorry, good afternoon, please.
Yes, good afternoon to you.
Thank you.
All right, of course, Comrade Abubakar Bitako Umar, is nice having you. We are looking at the health sector this afternoon on the focus of the 218 billion naira affect ongoing hospital and infrastructure projects nationwide. How did you even receive this news from the minister?
What does this signify? It signifies that the health, the lives of the citizens, it's not important to the government, unfortunately. What does this signify? It signifies that the health, how can you release only less than 100 million for 36 states, including FCT Abuja, as a kind of money? Never, and the Ministry of Finance have never been releasing monies into ministries to some of these ministries. That is that's the fact of obtainable on ground. You can see where even indigenous contractors have been protesting and protesting and protesting, yet nothing has been done fruitful to kind of take care of that kind of situation. There had been a kind of loud outcry of non-release of funds to many ministries. I don't know what they have been keeping the money to. I don't know the reason why they have been keeping this money to themselves. All we could understand is they have been keeping this money against 2027 election, which is very unfortunate. These are money that has been captured into the budget for implementation, but you don't see anything. It's quite embarrassing, and it's very, very unfortunate. You can see that is that annual budgets have never been implemented up to 50%. If our budget have been judiciously and adequately implemented, Nigeria will not have been where we are today. This underdevelopment and this